You'll maybe have noticed that we've come inside for the next ritual, and that's because I really wanted to be right in the heart of the distillery for the ritual that's coming up. So we're up here amongst the sills at Lindores Abbey Distillery, and we're here to talk about the Quaich ritual, and I don't think there's a nicer place that we could be doing it. But let's talk about this beautiful wee cup. The Quaich, which is a wee cup with two handles or two lugs, has been used in Scotland for centuries as a way of welcoming people into your home when they would come to visit you after a long journey to get there, as a way of bidding people farewell as they moved on in their journey, but also as a way of sealing contracts. Again, if we go way back to medieval Scotland, when we had two clan chiefs coming together to negotiate the marriage of one clan chief's son with the other clan chief's daughter, they wouldn't get out paper contracts and big fancy pens. They would instead pour a wee dram of whisky or brandy into a quaich, and they would share it between them. And that simple act would have been enough to solidify the agreement between them. But when I say that wee act, there is, of course, much, much more to it. There's real depth of symbology behind the Quaich ritual, because if we go back again to medieval Scotland, if I was willing to accept a cup from you and hold it by both its hands, then by doing that, of course, if I take that, I'm leaving myself very open to attack. I'm leaving myself very vulnerable to whoever is standing in front of me, because in medieval Scotland, everybody had a sword. And if there was mistrust between you, then it could be that you were going to end up with a sword in your belly rather than a dram in your belly. So by accepting that, you're saying to the person standing opposite you, I trust you. But also, if I pour a wee dram in it and I take a drink and I offer it to my companion, what I'm also saying is, you can trust me because it's not poisoned. I've just shown you, I've taken a drink, it's not poisoned. So there's a great deal of trust behind the Quaich ritual. And of course, whenever we come together in marriage with somebody, that's what we're doing. We are allowing ourselves to be completely vulnerable in the presence of another human being. We are just being, or should be able to be totally ourselves with another person, without fear, without judgment, without doubt, knowing that that person loves us because of our vulnerabilities, as well as everything else. So that's one of the reasons why the Quaich is so popular in wedding rituals, because of this symbology of trust. But then in 74, but I might have got my date wrong, King James VI of Scotland gifted a quaich to his new bride, Anne of Denmark, as a wedding present. And from then on, it began to be used in wedding ceremonies and gifted to people in wedding ceremonies. So this is a really beautiful ritual to include in any Scottish ceremony. What do you put in it? Well, traditionally, I just said it would be whisky or it would be brandy. Nowadays, it can be anything you like. I've had champagne, prosecco, gin, beer, water, Scotland's other national drink, iron brew. It can be whatever you want it to be. But of course, traditionally, it would have been whisky or brandy, and we are here in a whisky distillery. So today, we are going to be using Lindores Abbey whisky. Now, how is it used in ceremony? Well, I'll show you in a minute, but it can be a ritual that's just for both of you, and it's a really intimate ritual where you're each going to take a sip and you're going to offer the other person a sip to symbolise this trust and unity and sharing. Or you can include other people in the ritual. Now, pre-COVID, what would often happen there would be a wee quaich for the couple and then a much bigger quaich full of whisky, like a bucket of whisky, that would be passed around the guests and they could all take part in the ritual too. But post-COVID, that really doesn't happen. Instead, what can be nice, if you don't have too many guests, is that you can give them each their own wee miniature of whisky, either when they come into the ceremony or if there's a signing taking place in your ceremony, you can pass them out then. And people can join in a wee toast with you to say congratulations on your union. So there's lots of different wee things can be done with the quaich. But in I do ceremonies, what usually happens is we leave this ritual towards the end of the ceremony, just after the signing. So we've gone right through the ceremony, we've had the statement of intent, we've had any readings, we've had the couple's beautiful love story, we've heard them state their vows, maybe they've had a hand fast, they've exchanged rings, we've declared them to be a married couple, and they've gone away and signed the marriage schedule, if indeed there's a marriage schedule to be signed. At that point, once they come back to their guests, here's what usually happens. Okay, family and friends, thank you for your patience during the signing of the marriage schedule. Right, you would think that would be enough, right? We heard Gay and Jean state their intent for being in the ceremony space today. We heard them exchange vows of marriage. They had their hands bound together as one. We saw them gift rings to each other, and we've just seen them sign their names into history. You would think that would be enough. But no, because this is Scotland, where nothing's ever a done deal without booze being involved. Gay and Jean have chosen today to incorporate the beautiful Celtic ritual of the quaich into their ceremony. At that point, I would give a wee backstory for your guests if required. But what I'm going to ask you both to do is to just think, as we come towards the end of your wee ceremony, just to look at each other and just to think of everything that's taken place this day. And then who's going to pour this wee whisky? Okay. So pour a wee dram into the quaich. And then just can I ask you, Gay, to pick it up by both lugs and to look at each other. And just know, Gay and Jean, that through the sharing of this dram, you are pledging to share your life together. You will never have this moment again. So savour it, and the whisky, of course, and let this ancient giving and receiving as equals set the foundations on which your life together will stand. Gay and Jean, I'm going to step back and I invite you to share a dram for all the love you've known in the past, all the love that surrounds you today, and all the love you will know in the future. Please share a wee dram. Family and friends, can I ask you to crack open your little miniatures, be on your feet and join me in a beautiful happy toast for Gay and Jean. Cheers!